welcome back to Doodle Crew. We're here. It's Monday. We made it. Goodness gracious. I'm just gonna jump right in. So one would think that this would be a great first episode for our season 4 back, but I didn't plan it that way. So instead, we're doing new season Who Dis, and we are going to be working on new self-portraits or new promo images.
Well, it's like old television shows would actually start in the middle of the plot, and then episode 3 would actually be episode 1.
There you go.
Because they wanted to pull people in.
Yeah. Are you pulled in?
Oh, that's
No.
smart.
Chat, are you pulled in? Did we do it? No. I'm genuinely happy to be back. The first 2 episodes we did were already a blast. I'm already having so much fun. So I'm very excited to be back. But especially excited to be back here with all my friends. So we're going to do the thing. We're going to go around, say who you are and where people can find you on the internet. Vic, we're going to you first. Hopefully it cooperates. I see it doing that slightly lag thing, so. Oh, no.
Is it me? Am I first?
It's you.
Oh.
My laptop is sabotaging me, and I'm really hoping that it can just hold on. But I am Vic. You can find me on the internet most places at idstar or at Vic idstar on TikTok because someone got on there before me. I make comics. I do drawings. You can check out my webcomic of Destiny and Dragoons at dragoons.com. That's it.
Yay.
Thrilled to be here.
Yeah. And you've also been streaming, so I'm definitely going to make sure you are putting the notification on for that, and you can hang out and watch more art be made. So yeah, jumping down to Geoff. Hello, Geoff.
Hi. I'm Geoff. I'm kind of scarce on the internet right now. I left Twitter. I can be found on Blue Sky. I couldn't tell you what my handle is because I don't go on there often enough. I'm also on whatever that is, that Instagram at Threads. That's what it is. Again, I couldn't tell you what my name is on that. But I am on Instagram. I think it's just Geoff Munn on that. I post very rarely at this point. However, in the next week or so, I'll be on summer vacation. So I will be able to post more and do more. And I'm excited to get back into the swing of things and doing some more personal stuff. So Instagram and maybe Facebook. Again, just look me up by name. And that's where I post most of my stuff because I'm old.
Aw, excellent. Perfect. I love it. Now, if they want to support you and see early comics and stuff, is that still patreon.com/pocketscience?
No, I shut that down for a while, and I'm going to be starting a new one up here soon.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do more. The point was I had 2 full-time jobs and couldn't really post anything and felt bad for taking people's money, so I shut it down. But now that I'm down to 1 full-time job and I have summers off, I will be able to get back into the swing of things.
Yay! Yeah, and we definitely do our best to update the link trees and the notifications that we put into here so that we can get everybody connected to their correct thing. But as always, if anyone who is watching ever has any questions about the artist, please hit me up and I will direct you to them. And last but certainly not least, the lovely Hebe. Hello!
Hello. Oh my God. I feel like I haven't been here. I don't think I was on last season. Was I on last season?
I don't know. I feel like we were going to try and sneak you in for one and then something came up, so I think we missed you.
I've been busy as hell.
In all good things, though, like exciting things.
Yeah. So hello everybody. My name is Hebe Buffay. I am an all-you-can-eat course of horror, RPGs, and drag here on Twitch. I, in the mid-season, over a season, whatever a season, I host drag race viewing parties here during the main seasons in Pittsburgh. I'm a member on Twitch of Team Stream Queens, Overture, Stream for a Cause, and Timeless. We all do very cool things, charity, events. Like it's a lot of fun. I stream a lot of Square Enix games, RPGs, your Resident Evils, your Final Fantasies, and yeah, I think that's about it. If you want to buy my merch, Geoff Munn did design the merch design. So
we know him.
We know him. And yeah, I'm just going to be getting into face today, and the face I put on now compared to the face I last put on Doodle Crew,
It's changed so much.
it has
Like,
changed so
oh,
much.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it, though. It's so good. It's such a blast. Hello, everyone. Official. Hi. Just a reminder, we are doing new season Who Dis. So we are working on new promo pics for ourselves or new self-portraits. Yeah. And if you're curious about me, I'm Swan. You can find me all over the internet at a Swan named Emily. I am not streaming as much anymore, unfortunately, but that's why it's nice to be back on Doodle Crew. I've been teaching a whole lot more. But I have also been making a whole bunch of stickers. So if you want to see more of my stickers, you can find them over on my Etsy shop, which is Swan named Emily Art. If you want to support me and get some bonus sticker stuff, you can find that over at Patreon. So I've been doing more of that. I'm hoping to get more into streaming, but it's also convention season.
Woo!
So yeah, I'm back doing shows. I don't have a ton this year. But I've got some really fun ones. So I'm excited, including one that's coming up this weekend that I need to get ready for. So all good things. I got it. I'm nailing it. It's great. But
What
yeah,
you're saying is you got loads of time.
Yeah, loads of time. Let's like 5 whole days. I'll be fine. Honestly, I'm more sad about the morning of the show. I have to get up at like 8 in the morning to get on the road to drive to the place to set up. But after that one morning, it'll be good. But yeah. I'm excited. I'm going to be completely real. I didn't make a specific plan coming into this because why would you do that? But I do I kind of want to have little like reaction me's, not necessarily for Twitch or anything, but just like little fun things I can put on my posts or kind of have little swans to react to. So that's kind of
Also, fun
hopefully
fact, if you have the Twitch app on your phone and you have an iPhone, you can use your Twitch emotes as stickers.
Shut up. That's so cool.
Yeah, I can respond to texts like with my emotes from Twitch.
I love
The
that.
more you know.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you've kept up with this and learned all this stuff because I just stopped. I stopped doing anything.
Twitch
I just
is
hit go on Twitch and that's it.
I won't say Twitch has been very lucrative, but Twitch has been like my third side hustle.
That's great. We love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Geoff doing 2 full-time jobs, us doing like 4 side hustles. It's good. It's great. We love all of it. Yeah. Yeah. Now, please forgive me because I know I should probably know, but did the most recent season of Drag Race just wrap up?
Yep. Last Friday was the last episode.
And how did you feel about it?
I was fine with it.
Okay.
The person I wanted to win won, but the person who should have won didn't.
Okay.
But at the same time, I understand, like, I've seen so much Drag Race at this point that from a production standpoint, I could see it coming from a mile away. So I'm personally not disappointed. And it also means they can get her on in All-Stars. So
Okay. Now, how many All-Star seasons have there been?
Too many.
Fair.
I had a Drag Race kind of binge-a-thon a couple months back, and I think I watched about 12 seasons in the space of 2 weeks or something.
So there's 16 main US seasons currently. Season 17 is about to film. And right now they're about to air All-Stars 9, but there's also been UK versus the world, Canada versus the world, which are basically All-Stars, but with like an international cast. And I'm just like, this is too much. It's like we only do the ones that are streaming on they're not streaming. We only do the ones that air on TV because people don't have cable. We did the All Winners season as like our first season with me hosting at the Blue Moon, and nobody showed up because it was on Paramount Plus, so everybody watched it on Thursday.
Gotcha. Now, how did you feel the international ones compared?
So I have the only international seasons I've watched are UK seasons 1 through 3. I think it's fun. It's like at first they didn't win money because it's on the BBC, it's publicly funded.
Right.
And I think that added like a little level of they were less afraid to say things because like it didn't really affect anything. They weren't getting any money.
Interesting.
So like the plus British humor and shade and American humor and shade is different.
Very, very different.
Yeah.
This past UK versus the world was excellent.
On more than one occasion, I've made a joke over here, and someone has just stared at me in dead silence because they're like, "Are you being serious? Is that I can't tell?" Like, oh no. The crickets that follow.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What
still
you want when you're trying to be funny.
my living panic every time to make sure that I put haha or LOL in my text messages or like do
God.
smiley faces. I'm like, I really need you to know I'm not being serious, or like it's funny, everything's fine.
I forgot what the Gen Z one is, but I hate it.
Oh gosh, I don't know that I would know.
Oh.
I'm so old now.
It's like I knew it, and I feel like there's a G in it.
Okay.
Oh, it's IJBOL.
IJBOL.
I just burst out laughing.
Oh no, I don't
I
like
hate
that.
it.
Oh,
Absolutely
I hate
not.
that.
Idgebowl.
Blah.
Like Lamau is any better, but
Yeah, but then you
like
could do the cute little like French like cat thing where it looked like it said Le Mao, and that was funny. I was like early internet cat. Like, come on. Ugh. Yeah, I don't. Ugh. Huh.
yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Nope.
Nope.
Terrible.
Yeah. Oh.
I agree.
There is some like personal fun that I have in using like my current students who are usually middle schooler and high schooler age, like their slang against them and just trying to be the most old I can be with it and like pronounce all of the letters and just really make it bad for them. But they still just keep coming up with new stuff that I hate. And I'm like, oh, you ruined my fun. So, Geoff, I feel like I should know this, but your one full-time thing now is just college?
Yep.
Okay.
Just teaching at Point Park now.
Okay.
Ooh. How'd you feel about the copious amounts of flooding lately?
So, I found it funny for two reasons. Well, one was it wasn't funny because the Wednesday and Thursday that I had to go into work, I got jammed up because I was like, oh, it's stopped after the Grant Street exit. That's my exit.
Mm-hmm.
That's everybody's exit now. So I was stuck in traffic for like an hour and a half. So I was actually late to one of my classes, and I emailed my students while I'm sitting in traffic. I'm like, I'm going to be late, but I will be there. They actually all stayed.
Aww.
And they were having some kind of Mario Kart tournament because someone brought a Switch. It was pretty great. I walked in, I was like, oh my God, everyone's here. You guys are awesome.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and then the next day I was only a few minutes late, but the very next day was the Pirates home opener. And the bathtub was full. Like this little area that kind of sinks below the city a little bit by the Mon Wharf. It's part of the parkway. It floods periodically, and it's called the bathtub because it floods. And it was full. Like that thing was like full. There's drone footage of it. The very next day, that Friday, dry as a bone. So clearly they can get it pumped out when they want to.
They need to fix it entirely and just make it not do that.
But like for those of us who travel into town for work during the week, it wasn't a priority. But for the Pirates home opener, it was. So I was like, oh, okay, I see how it is.
Cool. Thanks, Pittsburgh.
But yeah, it was pretty insane because it like the whole, like the walk over by, I guess it was like 5 more feet of flooding, and it would have been right up to the stadium, to PNC Park. So like it would have been a lot easier for them to hit home runs into the river.
To be fair, that would be cool to see. I would enjoy that. You know, for all the years I was in Pittsburgh, and even like living at Allegheny Center and walking past the Pirate Stadium every day to go to school, I never once went to a game. And I should have, but
Was it PNC Park at that point, or was Three Rivers still up?
That's a great question. I don't know. When did it switch?
I
I'm
want
gonna
to say Three Rivers was demolished in 2001.
Okay, so then it would have been the updated.
It's PNC.
Yeah.
I worked at Three Rivers when I first went to AIP, and for like 3 days. Because it was terrible. It was a nice stadium, but the employers were not great.
Usually the case.
Yeah.
Just had a moment where I straight up forgot what I look like.
Me too.
Well, I think that was kind of part of my thought process on this. I was like, okay, do I want one that's going to look more like me? And I was like, no, we're going to go even more like goofy and exaggerated and less based in real life.
It's so weird the Drag Race is over now, though, because like that has been my life every Friday for the past 4 months straight.
So now is there another immediate thing filling that in, or do you actually get like a little bit of a break?
So I'm probably gonna start. Well, I am starting Fridays up again on my stream, because now that Drag Race is over, I can actually do it.
It helps.
But I have a project in the works that's probably going to be launching in 2 to 3 weeks. And it's called "Is This a Drag?" And it's basically going to be podcast format, but on stream of me doing my makeup while watching movies, some form of media, etc. It is not going to be streamed. We do not provide it. If people want to watch along, they need to legally procure it themselves. And it's just going to be like a running commentary track to whatever it is, as me and possibly a guest do our makeup and get in drag, or whatever, chit chat. And then at the end, you decide whether or not the title was a drag a drag complimentary or a drag derogatory.
Very cool.
I just like talking over TV shows and shit. So it seemed like a good fit.
That's fun though. I don't know. I don't know if it's just I want to say partially from pandemic and everything, but also just because the majority of my close friends and the people that I hang out, want to hang out and chat with most often don't live near me. Like the kind of group watch and group chat. Like I love that. That's such I would almost rather have that happen than go to the movies anymore. Plus I just
Much
really
cheaper, if nothing else.
Oh gosh.
The movies is so expensive now.
It's so expensive.
Well, it's like now the thing that they're doing to get people in the seats is movie theater exclusive merch.
Do talk about the Dune popcorn bucket.
It's not just the Dune though. There's a Garfield popcorn bucket coming out. There was a Barbie car one.
The Dune mussy.
Yeah. And listen, I've already seen way worse than that. So you have to try harder, film studios.
I just couldn't tell if did they just not think it through, or did they?
Oh no, they thought
think
it through.
Yeah,
They absolutely thought that through.
Well, the new Deadpool one is literally his mask with the mouth cut out of it on the top. So
They know what they're doing.
yeah, oh yeah.
What's fun about all of that is that it's not a new thing. It's like a return to old school movie road shows that used to have very, very exclusive merch, and back when they would make the really enormous production musicals and things, and there would be like a huge tour and very specific merchandise you could only get if you actually saw it in person at one of the places that they were screening it or something. But so we're kind of coming full circle on it.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen too with the fact that so many stores are starting to ditch physical media. I think it's going to blow up in people's faces in about a year, maybe 2. Physical media is going to come back in the way that vinyl did and be like a collector's item.
It's crazy. It's just crazy to me.
Especially because now streaming companies are shooting themselves in the foot by removing things or just destroying them for tax write-offs.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's create our own lost media.
Do you ever just get like 20% into your artwork and hate it and be like, maybe I'm just going to totally start over?
Yep.
Unfortunately, I never have that choice.
No. You never just select all and hit clear. And
No. Like, whatever it is, I have to salvage it, unfortunately.
Swan, I like what you're doing. I might do something similar and do some like hyper simplified little reaction things because I was planning on doing like have different outfits and like dress the character kind of tabs and things, but I don't know.
Yeah, some days
Not feeling
that's not where we're at.
No.
Yeah.
I actually went to the trouble of having a plan before I got here. Never mind, I guess.
Well, okay. Well, that was cute. I'm so glad I did that. Yeah.
Also, speaking of mental illness, I have a psychiatrist appointment immediately after this.
How fun.
I
In
had
person
therapy
or-
immediately before.
Oh, man.
I was mentioning on my stream, I was like, yeah, I'm fully booked digitally today. It's like I streamed for 3 hours, jumped straight into this, and then an hour after that, I have my psych appointment over the computer.
That's incredible. Yeah, I need to once again start pursuing some stuff along those lines. I had such a miserable experience last November and kind of lost steam on it, but I would like to maybe get some stuff sorted. So it's time to start getting into that again, which is just so exciting.
Coincidentally, last November is the last time I saw Swan. So if anybody's wondering,
And so you would think things would have gotten better for her.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I had to leave. I came home. So
Hey, speaking of, am I seeing you again this November?
yeah, they're doing it again.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing so far, but yeah.
Yes.
That's honestly like I'm not like fully into conventions anymore. Like it's just not my scene, but that one will always be. So
Good. Yeah, I don't know. I like them a lot. I enjoy them, but they are exhausting, and it's definitely been, I don't know, they've been very different post-pandemic. So I don't know. I am sad to think that I am missing out, but also I'm like, it's a lot less stress.
yeah.
I've been trying to think of a way to do kind of like a virtual one and like how that would logistically work. To be like invite all my friends and be like, hey, you don't have to leave your home.
Right.
Us at the Stream Queens, we actually do that every December. It's called Stream Queens Con.
Amazing.
And if you go over to the Stream Queens Twitch channel, the VODs are all there. But every year there's a list of panels and like everything from mental health, balancing performing live and streaming at the same time and having a job, or like gender theory, video game releases, Resident Evil, and there's just panels all weekend long of us sitting and talking about these topics.
That's awesome. I'm going to check that out.
The one year, Dragon Con obviously couldn't happen in person. We did it all virtual for the digital media track and had, programming all day. and everything. But that was also, there was a team working on that. So, as soon as one panel wrapped, all of those people were excused from, the StreamYard, and then they booted up the next one and did that. And it was a thing. And it was very, very cool. But it was also like, I look at that and I'm like, that is more than I want to do on my own.
I said the way that we all do it is just through Discord. I think we would set up our OBS virtual cameras, broadcast those into Discord or a Google Meet, and then somebody on their end would screen capture that, put a layout in front of it in their OBS, and then that would be what's streamed.
Dope.
That's so smart.
Oh, Wiffle Possum, to answer your question, I'm sorry, I missed it earlier. Which convention? We are talking about the Twin Tiers Comic-Con, also known as T2C2, in upstate New York. Yay!
Yay!
It is fun, though. I selfishly, because it is literally, my backyard. It's a very easy show for me to do. I get to come home and sleep in my own bed every night, which is delightful.
That's ideal.
It really is.
Goals.
I love it so much. But no, it's so much fun. And because of where we are located, we are only a couple of hours from much bigger cities, because it's just such a strange area. It's a pain in the butt to fly anywhere out of here, which if you listen to the podcast that I'm on called In Addition, we talk about that a whole bunch because it feels like the middle of nowhere. But it is a nice spot for that. There is a fair amount to do, but also just coming for the show is really nice. And, it's a day trip without too much issue. Unless we get a snowstorm, which, it's November. So we could also have 70-degree weather. We really never know.
We already have our air conditioner in here.
Oh my God.
And then we got a freeze last night.
Yeah. Nope. I was all set to, keep my heat off and just kind of coast because it would get warm during the day. And then it was in the 30s for a couple nights. And I was like, no. I'm still going to use my heat. Thank you.
It's like we had a full week of 70+ degree weather.
Yeah,
I put my winter stuff away and then we had a whiteout.
What were you going to say, Geoff?
Oh, I was agreeing with Hebe that it was really kind of dumb. Like last week was like, I think it was 80 on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then this morning it was 34 when I put my kids on the bus. So it's like, okay, Pittsburgh, like the weekends are when we're outdoors like all the time because now it's soccer season. So we have soccer. We have usually 3 games of soccer on Saturday and at least 2 games of soccer on Sunday. So last week, not this past weekend, but the one before that, Saturday, we're wearing sweatshirts and all that. And then Sunday, it was 75. So it was like ridiculous the 2 different days. And then this past weekend was in the 50s for both days. We're just like, okay, this is fun. And then next weekend is supposed to be in the upper 70s.
Yeah, I can't. Also, my sinuses have been going absolutely bananas with all of that. Like, just the yo-yoing. And I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm feeling. Am I getting sick or is it just the weather?
The weird thing is I usually have extremely bad allergies at this point of the year with like all the pollen and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And with the weather slingshotting, oh my God.
It is. Honestly, yes.
Slingshotting back and forth. It's like at first I was feeling like ill just because like my sinuses couldn't deal with the fact that the weather was changing so quickly. But I haven't had any like spring allergies otherwise. Like it's all been in response to temperature. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? It's like, is this gonna hit me real bad like mid-June or something?
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, I'm waiting for the other pollen bomb to drop on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think sling-schlonging is really perfect.
Make a sticker of that.
Yeah. You know, the weather in Pittsburgh, it's always sling-schlonging. There have been days in April and May where I've experienced all 4 seasons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can't handle it. This is my first spring in Colorado because I was in Texas before this, and Texas is awful but straightforward in that it's like summer all year round and then like Arctic winter for 3 days in February. But now it's like 2 days ago, everything was like a blizzard, and now the snow is totally gone and it's scorching sunshine. I'm like, what? No. And there were like here summer last year, and I had my first seek shelter immediately tornado warning come up on my phone that I'd
Jesus.
experienced. So that was a new one for me.
Oh my God.
So in the morning it was seek shelter right now. And then like 2 hours later, gorgeous sunshine, tweeting birds. I'm like, what?
Insane. Absolutely insane.
The only con I have on my radar right now is possibly TwitchCon.
Ooh.
I already have the time requested off, and I did apply to be in their yearly drag showcase. I did not get in last time, but I was I was gonna say runner up. I was a backup person if anybody had dropped out.
Mhm.
So we'll see. And it's like if I get into that, they pay for like my airfare and my lodging and all that.
Sweet.
So
Cool.
fingers crossed.
That's very exciting.
I did a tiny cool convention the other week. And that's the first one I've done in 4 years, and the first one I've ever done in the States. And also the first time I didn't have any kind of fan art on my table. It was a wild experience. I'm like, this is nothing like what I'm used to doing.
Yeah.
Just forgotten how to start with. And then on top of that, I'm like, oh yeah, this is new shit for me.
Did you get positive feedback?
I didn't get negative feedback.
Okay.
How about that?
I'll take that.
Nobody flipped my table over. I'm calling it a win.
Yep. Yeah. God, there's been some just terrible shows that I've been to where I'm like, okay, on a show that maybe was just kind of mid, or I'm like, all right, none of my stuff got destroyed. Nobody of my friends or myself got like violently ill, like during the show. Afterwards is a whole separate thing, but I was like, okay, like,
yeah, the
not...
benchmarks can change, can't they? Like, yeah, it wasn't like the most profitable, but it was a good one in terms of like getting to see the sort of local scene a little bit. I've definitely been to worse ones. Like,
okay,
I've been to some that I left early that they were that bad.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was good fun. I'm trying to find some more that I can reach by car on the same day.
Yep. Yeah, there is a possibility that next year there might be some more traveling to cons on my radar, but I have never flown to a show and have to travel with all of my supplies. So that's one where I was like, oh, if it came to that, we'd really have to figure out, because I've got some, larger items that go on my table that are part of my setup, and I'm just like, I don't know how you fly with them. Not all of this stuff breaks down, so it's never been a motivation to do that part, but we'll see. Yeah, I saw in chat Wiffle Possum was talking about Steel City Comic-Con being saved, because I know that was a whole crazy...
The hotel is still closing, though.
Yeah, is it?
Yes.
But they're closing for a different reason.
Yeah.
Like, originally I thought that was...
They
like,
owe a lot of money.
Yes. The owner apparently owes lots and lots of money to Hilton, and they're like, no, close down. So that doesn't exist. That closed like 2 days after they announced that.
It was the like 1-2 slap of the announcements.
Yeah. And we drove past it because we're not far from Monroe. We drove right past it, and we're just like, wow, everything's gone. Like, the signage was all pulled down except for the one sign next to the road. You wouldn't even know what brand hotel that was.
Oh,
it's like,
my God.
We go out to Monroeville probably every Sunday because we're also not far from there. And it's like my partner will like deposit his bar money and all that, and like if I have drag money, I'll deposit that, and then we'll hop over to like the exchange and like some stores. That whole mall area, desolate wasteland.
Oh my gosh.
Like the mall sucks.
It's bad.
It's
yeah.
the worst it's ever been. Best Buy, nothing to buy.
Not Best Buy.
Yeah. It's like all of it is high ticket items you have to plan out purchases for now, with the exception of a poorly done collectibles section and the video game section that doesn't carry titles I play anyway because I play all niche shit. I'm very disappointed because they got rid of all the movies.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. I remember, I mean, it's been years and years and years since I did Steel City, just because I had one really rough year there. Because oh gosh, years and years and years ago. But their setup had Friday run from like 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., which is gross. You don't need that on a Friday. It's not San Diego. It's not New York. Like there's not so much traffic that requires that much of a day. And it was very much, and I understand this part, that it was, you need to be there and you need to be set up, because empty tables and, people not being there, it looks bad. Like I get it, but it was a 13-hour day for the artist. And I made like $35. And I'm just like,
Jesus.
I am so tired. And this is just Friday. I still have
Friday, and you were burnt out for Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even want to do tomorrow now. But, it was very much that if you left or anything, like they had in the contract, they were able to like give your table away or like bar you from entry. And
you would never be able to come back. Yeah, that was
right. And I was like, okay, I'll do it, but I'm not
gonna be happy about it.
I'm not gonna be happy.
It's like that thing where if you're paying to attend and then you have to work that hard at the table, you want to make sure that it's the kind of event where you're at least guaranteed a certain amount of return on it. Like,
Yep.
I would do a 13-hour day for an event that was worth it, but for $35, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's pennies. It's pennies per hour, and it's. Again, I was like, no, it makes sense if you want to come and see the huge line of celebrities that they have. Friday's a great day for that, but don't do that to the artist alley people. Like, just woof. So that was rough, and unfortunately for that setup, like it became, because they'd run it so many times a year, like you'd get into the list, and I feel like the same group of people in Artist Alley would always do it. So there were very few like new spots that would open up. So if you fell out of their rotation, it was harder to get back in. And I was like, you know what? I just don't want this stress. I wish and I still have buddies who do that show or did that show all the time. And like, I'm happy for them, but I was like, I can't handle this. It's too much for me. But I also really liked the Three Rivers Comic-Con guys, which is the New Dimension comic shop. They were the ones who started out in the West Mifflin Century 3 Mall, which was so freaking surreal. Because
I remember that. It would be the only store I went into.
Yeah. Well, and so Monroeville is where they actually filmed the like Pittsburgh zombie movies. That's what that one's famous for. But the Century 3 could have been that, because it had the double-decker parking lots that were just completely empty, and like pieces of it had fallen down, and there was chunks of like cement and concrete everywhere, and you'd walk into this mall. Yeah, and like there was a Dick's, there was a Mexican restaurant, there was the comic shop, and like one or two other
Party
places.
City.
Yeah. And so whole sections of the mall like had no lights, and there were no stores, and it was so.
And you were still allowed to walk through that.
Oh yeah, it was so creepy. And I was like, none of this is good. But we had a blast, and then like you guys said, it's officially like it got not foreclosed, but
no, I think it's foreclosed.
I was gonna say, didn't it actually get demolished?
Yeah, it's
just the parking lot right now is being demolished.
Okay.
They just started that like 2 weeks ago. They started to knock it down. Yeah. But I think the mall, I think the mall still gets to stand for right now, but I don't know why. But there's that one. But I think an even sadder story. Like I love Century 3 Mall. I can remember when there was actually lots of stores in it. That's how old I am. We used to go like in the late 90s. We used to go there. It was a pretty nice mall. But the sad mall is what my kids call the fancy mall. It's the Pittsburgh Mills Mall, the Galleria out there.
Oh.
It's huge. It's fairly new, and there are 3 stores in it. One of which is a New Dimension Comics.
Yep.
But like we go there because it takes forever to walk around that mall, but we'll go there because like Pokemon Community Days and stuff is like the best time to go because you get to walk around that mall, and it is a very nice mall. And my 7-year-old calls it the fancy mall. He's like, "Can we go to the fancy mall?" And the only reason he wants to go is because there's that New Dimension Comics, and there's also another trading card store in there. He just wants to go look at the Pokemon cards. But like, it's really sad because I remember going there again when it was brand new, and they had like a movie. They have a movie theater in it now that just reopened, but it's really terrible. But it was like the food court was huge, and the movie theater was great. This again was in the early 2000s, it was probably like 2006 or 7. And now it's just, and these people apparently owe tons of money to whoever made it, and for some reason they have not had a sheriff sale on it. They keep saying we're doing a sheriff sale, and then they somehow dodge it. And I'm just like, I don't know how this mall is open. And like, just like the Century 3 Mall, the roads around it are just pothole after pothole that will destroy your car if you don't like weave in and out and really kind of avoid any actual traffic pattern. But you know, malls around here are just bad. And I think
it's not
I haven't been to like South Hills Village or anything like that, so I don't know how that is. But yeah, the Monroeville Mall was always my mall. It's the one I worked in, and you know, again, like you said, it was the Dawn of the Dead Mall, and everything from that time is gone. Like the last thing that was left was that little bridge that went over the koi pond, and they took that out. So like it's just a sad time for anybody who liked malls.
Yeah.
Gosh, as you're talking about that, I was like, I remember Galleria Mall being the big one we'd go out to for college and like hit a bunch of stuff out there. Like, I don't know why we went to that one specifically, but yeah, like I remember it being like fancy and nice, and that's crazy. But also I have that moment where I was like, that wasn't that long ago, and I was like, but
Oh wait, no, it's 20 years ago.
oh shit, it was.
I found it interesting going to a mall here versus England and how identical they are. Like ours are modeled exactly after yours, I guess. Like
they might be owned by the same companies.
Who knows? They're so the same. Like the vibe is the same, but like malls are popping in England. Like this is where a lot of people go. You have I guess like they're crazy busy and they're so desolate here and empty, and it sort of blew my mind. I'm like, but America is supposed to be the land of malls, and this is where everybody goes, right? In the movies with all the, and then I remember the movies are all from the 80s, and I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
it all makes sense now.
So there's this weird thing where, like, America doesn't want teenagers to have anywhere to go.
Yeah,
Because they're disruptive when they go there. However, it's like if you have no places for them to go, they're going to be more disruptive.
mm-hmm.
And it's so weird because it's like, oh, we need to maintain this image. And it's like, what image? No, you have nothing.
yeah.
UK does the same thing. I saw a really interesting video as well about like how that is having an impact on just the way generationally people are now, and teenagers are at home talking to each other via their phones. They're not physically communicating face to face in the way that they were, and that affects everything. So people aren't like, not just that they can't go to the malls and hang out, but also they're not buying things because they're not out in shops anymore, and it's just wild the way that impacts.
Well, and I think even to the extent of the adults and the loss of the third space, which was not a term I was familiar with until I want to say maybe
I didn't learn about that this last year. Yeah,
until like a year ago, and it's fascinating, and it's having another place that doesn't like is not your house, is not your work, which
It's not school.
right, for many of us our houses are our work, but also like not any of those. It is just another place where you can go and be with people and do something. And I was in the frustration point. It was like, I don't always want to go to the bars to hang out with my friends. I don't always want to go out to eat. Like, I'd love to just be able to go and hang out with people somewhere that didn't cost me money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same for kids. And like, I was surprised.
They don't want kids in parks.
Yep.
Like,
oh yeah, no, and then take away any of the skateboarding stuff, and like for littles, like playground equipment and stuff like that. Yeah, but for that like mid range and stuff, and it's so frustrating because I'm like, you need to give them a place where they can go and be, and it's so disheartening. And I'm grateful for my nerd community because a lot of the like game stores have space that have like D&D nights or Warhammer games or just a place to play board games. And to the credit of our local mall, because we went through the very very across the nation similar thing of we had the big all under one roof connected mall, and then whenever that went out of fad and then the open air like strip mall thing came back, they like across the highway built a whole new like strip mall with all these different shops, and then that mall started to die. But it was still like the building's still there. It wasn't in terrible condition. There was no reason for it, but they have since adapted and started turning a lot of it into like event spaces. So there's a huge, in what used to be one of the like Olympia sports, there's a huge pickleball thing. There was a
Olympia
kid
sports.
Yeah. There's like a kids play center where we hold our local convention in one of the old, I think it was Macy's, but it's great because it's super well lit. There's a bathroom in it. Like there's a lot of things that are nice about it. The food court's still there. It still has a movie theater, and there's still some like Hot Topic and Bath and Body Works, etc. and a Burlington, I think, but it's not run down. Like it's not in full disrepair. So they're finding ways. I think there's a Taekwondo or a sparring thing. There's a whole wrestling thing. Like they're finding ways. There's a storage thing that they built out of one thing. So I'm like, I'm happy to see it being turned into something else and not just becoming this dead space. But the last time I was there and actually walking around, I was surprised to see so many like preteens and teens. And I was like, is this coming back? Like going to the mall and just walking around, is that coming back? It's like
everything is cyclical.
Yeah, it's just weird because I feel like I don't know. I feel like I haven't been alive that long to see all of this. I mean, I know I have, but
how many more laps is it gonna do before we're all done?
Yeah. I was like, I do have a birthday coming up, but I was like, I haven't been on this planet that many years.
Yeah, you have.
I have. It's true.
It's true. The Monroeville Mall doesn't even have a GameStop anymore.
Nope. That went out during the pandemic.
Yeah. And then there was a weird, like, secondhand collectible
I loved that store.
How long were they there? It was less than a year.
It was not long, but
because they were in one space and then they moved to another.
They were down by that play area,
yeah.
And my kids used to like going in there to get used. Like people would turn in their Skylanders there, so they'd be like, "Let's go get like 3 for $5."
They had they had old Dot Hack sign figures.
Yeah,
when I went in there, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Or the classic Halloween decorations. Like that was a good store. I was like, "Oh, good." There's something in here I wanted to look at. And then the last time we went, it wasn't there. And I was like, well, that lasted 5 minutes.
Everything in that mall right now
it's all the same store.
Right. It's upscale something, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure those stores are not real stores and they are just
it's a front.
Yeah. Because it's no kidding. There's like upscale quote unquote beauty, which is like a lingerie store, never open. It's always got the gates down. There's upscale shoes somewhere. There's upscale this, that. There's an upscale juice bar. Like, these things do not match up.
And then there's
upscale juice.
There's also that not casino.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm like, that's a fucking scam. Excuse my mouth. That was my first F-bomb of the stream. You're welcome.
It was. That's almost an hour in. I'm kind of impressed, honestly.
That's how you can tell I've been streaming more often. Usually I stream at what people call P word o'clock. The P ends in another word for cat. And it's like, I think it's technically like after 9 p.m. there's more leeway with what you say. It's like, I say it on my stream all the time, no problem. But like, if I'm streaming with other people, I try to be a little more conscious about it.
I think one of my favorites, and it must have been season 2. There was an episode I had on, and I forget whatever we got on like early on in the stream. It got very blue very fast, and I just put a little like disclaimer on and be like, just a heads up, this one goes real hard, real fast.
My favorite was when we did that. I don't know if it was like a charity stream or whatever it was. With another bunch of people.
Yep.
And they were like, if you hit X amount of money, then we get to make the swears. And it
Doodle
hit
Crew is
quick,
allowed to be.
and it wasn't even like we all just let loose
Because it was an incentive. They were like, hey, Doodle Crew's about to be on. We need to get this money now.
And I think it was maybe a week or two after we did the first Doodle Crew. So we were all just kind of still riding that. And we're just okay, here it goes.
Yep.
You've done this to yourselves.
No, I love it. My buddy Josh was one of the organizers for it. And he's like, we were talking about initially, he's like, yep, we've been running it all day. Like, you guys come on at this point. Like, if you can just try and keep it, because our channel is relatively PG until like 9 p.m. And I'm like, sure, Josh, I've been very specific. I've told all the artists. And then like, as it became a joke, and he's like, no, just go. And I was like, we've been unleashed. Yeah. Oh my God. That was, because we were playing Gardic Phone.
Oh God.
That was so much fun.
Wasn't there was a Curse Garfield image?
Oh yes, there was.
Yeah. Oh God.
Yep. So yeah, anybody out there watching that, please invite us to all your charity streaming needs. We are a blast. We do.
It was like, and the best part was, it was like during warm-ups, it was just like, we can't swear, we can't do this, we can't. Make sure we don't. We're not going to do it.
Don't do it.
5 minutes in. Oh, you guys can go ahead. Oh, okay.
Just the floodgates.
Yep. Yep. All of our skin peels off and we become the lizard people we actually are. I'm like, yes.
You fools.
Oh my gosh.
Hebe, you still can't say the F slur. Aw.
Aw, guys.
Come on, man.
You never let me have any fun.
It's like I co-stream with a lot of like Twitch partners occasionally now. And I have to keep reminding myself, like, watch it, like, because that's their bread and butter.
Yep. Yeah.
I realize I don't even know what the rules are. So it's a miracle I haven't got myself banned until now.
It's like they don't really look at it too much unless somebody reports you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not important enough.
But since I'm like with a lot of like LGBTQIA individuals of high profile and like drag queens and all that, like there are some nasties just lurking in the chat waiting for somebody to slip up.
People are great.
Yeah.
They need other hobbies. They need better hobbies.
But they don't have hobbies at all. It's because their malls are closed.
That's true. Oh, goodness.
Like, I'm sure it's children. For the most part.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm obviously not going to discount adult homophobes, but I think for the most part, it's younger kids.
Well, and it's the scary part for me is because they are tech savvy enough with a lot of that stuff to actually.
You would be surprised.
Well, let me say, I guess tech savvy enough to get to the stream to be a problem, not to troubleshoot any of the art programs that we work in or interact with any software that is not an app. Because the number of times when I've been teaching Procreate and something will malfunction, be like, okay, we'll close the program and then open it back up, and they'll look at me.
How do I do that?
Said the most insane stuff, and I was like, close it.
This doesn't have a touch screen. How do I swipe?
I was like, I was like, the one time I was like, well, my pen isn't working. I was like, okay, does it have a charge? Is it Bluetooth connected? Okay, great. Is the little pen tip like screwed in? They're like, oh, I didn't even think to check that. And I'm just like, okay, well, now we've learned. That's a good.
Summer
Because usually all they have to do is close an app and reopen it.
So first thing that I tell my students, and I tell them repeatedly, week 1, day 1, because we use XP pens at school, and the monitors will lose communication with the pens. It's a random thing. It's nowhere near as bad as Wacom's. Oh, I've lost the drivers. You now have to reinstall me. It's a simple fix. There's 3 wires on the back of the monitor. It's the top wire. Unplug it, plug it back in. It's just the USB thing. That's all you're doing is you're unplugging it, popping it back in, and guess what? Your pen's going to work. I cannot tell you how many times in their first 3 years being there that they will come to me and be like, my pen's not working. And I'm like, did you unplug the plug? Which one?
Oh my God.
The top one. I had to re-show students this week how to put on autosave on Toon Boom.
I've had to show coworkers. It's like we don't work with computers often, but there are areas where like we need them, and like they're like, oh, it won't turn on. I'm like, is the monitor turned on or is the computer not turning on? Like which? I don't know. And I'm like, okay, well, when you push the button, does it light up? And they're like, no. I was like, is the monitor have a light on it if you press the button? Yeah. And so I looked, I went down, I went, the computer got unplugged. You don't know how to plug in a computer?
Because we have, so our computers, you can see into them and you can see the RAM is, pretty lit up, multicolored RAM. That's on all the time. So if the computer's in sleep mode, it's still on. So I had a student sit down at a computer who is graduating this week, and they're sitting there going, the computer's on, but I'm not getting a signal to the monitor. I go, the computer's not on because the light on front is not lit. It's asleep. You have to hit the button. They're like, but I can see the inside. I was like, yes, that's always glowing. You need to hit this button here. And they're like, I feel so stupid. I was like,
you should.
It's okay. You've probably been up for 4 days.
I mean, I'm sorry.
No, yeah.
Yes,
you are,
and
you are you're probably going to fail. You're not going to graduate. That's what you like to tell them.
oh God,
I should have planned this better. I came up with one alternative outfit. I've done that, and now I'm like, huh.
well, it looks super cute. I like it.
It's me and Dr. Me.
Cute.
I will say, regardless of how much better I've gotten at makeup, I still do the thing where I put a brush down and then it's gone forever.
I think that's a universal artist.
It's Where's My Stylist? You like to play Where's My Stylist?
It's my favorite game.
I put my stylus down. Where did it go? It's right here.
I have
my favorite is Where's My Phone as it's in my hand.
Yeah.
Where are my glasses as they're on my face?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I put them up on my upper part, and I was like,
oh no! I mean, like I'm looking out through them.
Looking through your glasses? Oh, sure. That's a case of I just my glasses. Where are they?
Yeah, brains are neat. Casey says, I remember at school with the Cintiqs, we had to go into like a random OS library folder and delete 2 specific cookie files to get them to work sometimes. Amazing. There was a broken USB port in one of the computer lab computers that wasn't found out for a while. And like you had to be so careful because it outwardly it didn't show anything different, but if you went to plug in your USB, not only would it like short out and crash the computer, it would also often like fry your USB.
Oh my God.
I'm like, this is not cool. I don't like any of this.
We didn't have drawing tablets. I didn't study art at school, so like there's that. But we didn't have fancy important technology. We had like Mac Pros for video editing. And they were like, they did exactly one thing. And so there was no risk of accidentally breaking it or accidentally installing something or using it for a different purpose and having it wear out or anything like that, which was great. But we encountered an error eventually where the autosave feature on Premiere Pro for video editing started corrupting all the autosaves.
Oh,
Nice.
So then it would crash because these machines were so ancient. And it'd be like, don't worry, we auto-saved it. You can recover the autosave. And then you'd open up the recovered autosave and it'd be like, this is corrupted and we can't do anything with it. I'm so sorry.
I hate it so much. Oh God. Yeah, there was definitely a couple of programs where I feel like you had to go in. It might have been Max and Maya, where you had to go in and make sure you didn't have the auto save set for like a really short amount of time or at all. Because if you were animating and then you were trying to render out this stuff, like it would go to try and auto save while you were trying to do something else and just crash and corrupt and
Yeah.
like,
Like, hang on, stop your work. I need to autosave. Wait, I'm gonna crash because I'm autosaving.
That was Flash's deal for the longest time. Is if you're
Oh,
in the
Flash.
middle of drawing a line and it's going to autosave right while your stylus is making contact with the screen. No warning, no nothing. It's just oh, you were trying to save it. Thank you. I
Oh,
appreciate
it looks like you're trying to use the program. Crash.
fools.
Clippy just pops up. Hey,
Have you considered using a pencil and paper?
Uh,
Looks like you're trying to do the most basic function. Let me mess it up for you.
but what if you didn't?
Oh, what would Clippy look like now? Do kids even know what paper clips are?
Yes. They do. I think Clippy would be an NFT now.
Oh my God! You could customize him. He'd have all the. Oh my God! I'm
He
sorry.
would just look bored. He would just be sitting there like.
Honestly, bring Clippy back for tablets. Like,
Yeah.
also, we're now in the age of handheld gaming PCs that are actually decent. So maybe there will be some form of resurgence of like tech know-how, hopefully.
That would be cool.
Oh God!
I don't know what color I want to use.
Oh, at one point earlier, and I completely missed it and meant to say it. Someone try again. Ghost took over my body. Complimented your skeleton glove, Geoff.
Oh yes, thank you. It's just a Huion glove. You can get it on Amazon.
Oh, that's really cool.
Oh, there it is. Casey said it. Yeah.
So it is so cool the way indie makeup companies are getting into that like random things now. I'm about to use a Persona 5 Royal themed makeup palette from Game Beauty.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And they had multiple of them. This one is named after like the dungeons. I forget what the other one was themed after. But it's really like just the horror fans and the video game fans are eating lately when it comes to makeup. Like Glamlight, this company that made this Garfield mirror and set, they've done a Nightmare on Elm Street line, they've done Chucky, they've done Scream, and there's all people collect the mirrors from each of them.
Honk honk.
The same to you.
That's very cool. I want to say it just out loud, and this is shocking to nobody, especially Hebe, but I got the Horse Girl palette from Trixie Mattel, and
I have that.
It's so good. Like
It is.
I've used a lot of garbage makeup, and it's fine. Like it really is fine. But there are times where I'm just like, this is so nice. It's so nice in comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my...
And even though it's like Trixie Mattel's makeup line, everything is still pretty decently affordable.
It really is.
Like, I swear by Trixie Cosmetics, and not just because they send me free product now. Like hashtag slightly sponsored. They don't pay me, but they do send me free product whenever something comes out.
That's
Hashtag bribed.
Yeah. But no, I tell people, I'm like, listen, they don't pay my bills, so I'll be honest.
Also, yes, to your comment, Casey, I think Clippy has just morphed into an AI bot. Like, there is part of me in some sick
I
and
am so
twisted way.
torn on AI, like AI.
Wow, that's its own
Like,
own thing.
ugh.
Yeah.
ChatGTP is just like evolved Clippy. Like we'll get to the final boss fight and he'll pull off the mask and we'll realize it was him all along.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
I
But
kind
it's
of
like,
love that for him, honestly.
like my friend Trashley, she'll do community nights on her stream where she opens up Photoshop and people will be like, oh, a duck riding a horse or something, and then she'll type it and it'll get added to the portrait. And I think that part is really neat. But I don't like that people are just typing in like, oh, this celebrity as this doing this, and then being like, this is my art.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not.
I read a really interesting, I want to say it was a Twitter thread, might even have been earlier today, about it was an art director for a game or some sort of media production. And they hired a bunch of AI prompters because they were like, okay, let's keep it as sort of open-minded as possible. If you're producing the results, you're producing the results. Like it's a business. And they decided to give it a try. And the prompters produced like dozens of pieces for the brief that they had to fulfill. And they were like, okay, this is pretty decent. All right. And then picked a few favorites. So we're going to iterate on these. Can you change this? Can you swap that? I want to see this perspective tweak or something like that, feedback. And then when they came back, they had just brought another dozen brand new prompts. So not iterations, just brand new generated things. They tried one more time, like, no, I want to work with these images, but I want to develop them. They can't develop them because they don't necessarily have the artistic techniques, like the technical skill to do it. They don't necessarily have the eye to understand the perspective correctly and things. And
Exactly.
so that's where it falls down. And I took quite a bit of comfort in that, actually, that's the bit of art that you can't replace with AI. Like you can generate the image immediately, but there is more to it than just that. That said, obviously, I'm strongly opposed to the inherent art theft of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting, the way the conversation is evolving is interesting, I think.
It's like, I think there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot more nuance to the conversation than people want to admit, because I am pretty firmly anti-AI, but I do think there are some neat and or fun uses that are not necessarily fully harmful. But for example, I don't like the ones that copy voice actors' voices.
Yeah.
Like, that's stealing somebody's livelihood. I'm not into that. Also, once those get good enough, you can ruin people's lives.
You can have anybody say anything.
Yeah.
It's a thing. People get scammed already. It's happening.
I think. Go ahead.
A cool thing about, I want to say it might have been in like Korea or Japan or somewhere, that a bakery was using AI originally to identify the different pastries, so that at the checkout, they weren't relying on people selling to recognize which pastry was which, because there were so many. And the complex algorithm they built for that AI formed the foundation of an AI that can detect cancer cells now.
See, that's amazing.
That's incredible. That's what AI should be doing.
Yep. Either that or my laundry. I would love it if AI would do my laundry.
I have a very love-hate relationship with a current program that's airing on TikTok called Queen of the Tooniverse.
Okay.
And it's RuPaul's Drag Race, but with AI versions of like Dora the Explorer, Angelica Pickles, Aang from Avatar, and they're all competing, and it is such a like shit post that like I can't look away. Because Aang will be like, oh, I'm serving wearing designers from Ba Sing Se, and it's like, it's wild. wild. So it's like I hate enjoy it. Because it's obviously the AI is mimicking like the original voice actors in that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I think there is a lot of interesting parts about it. I think there could be a lot of fun about it. I think it's the scary thing about technology where there is no safety net or protection on any of this, and the legislation takes so long to catch up that it scares me in the like there's a lot of damage that happens before, this stuff gets reined in, if it gets reined in. And I, from a selfish place, which is where a lot of this comes from, I was like, no, I think future artists will probably be okay. What I'm scared about is for myself and my friends who live right now and work right now, when I have clients who are like, well, why would I pay you when I could just do it myself? And like,
because you could get something good.
Yeah,
we're the fodder for it.
yeah.
But
And so like, I'm like, no, like, I don't want to completely say no, but also I'm like, we're going back to, art history times and all of it, where I was like, oh, good, I'll be like wealthy and famous after I'm dead. I will have died in poverty and cool.
cut off your own ear, but it's okay because you'll be.
We can draw you a new one in ChatGPT.
Yeah. If you could AI generate me a new one, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So I've realized, like, I'm getting somewhere, but I realized I also just made essentially a drawfee version of myself. Their little news days. I was like, oh, that's what I was like. Oh, this looks really cute. Nope, this looks like somebody else's. So I don't know. We're trying. We're doing a bunch of iterations. See if we can find something.
Which is not something that AI can do. So.
Yeah. And it, like, to your point with coming up with some of the ideation stuff, like I had some people who are not in the art field say, hey, it feels really nice to me to be able to put in, an idea that I have and have like something be generated so I can kind of have a good idea. And the part why I appreciated the person I was talking to is that then I can take it to you and show it to you and you can actually bring it to life. And I was like, yes, I love that. Like, I understand how good it feels to make art. Believe me, I wouldn't do this if I didn't like it and feel good with it. But it's that second crucial step where I was like, you just have to keep that part in mind. And I think, and this has been true for all of the professional graphic design jobs that I've had, where I don't mind teaching people how to be better clients and be better at working with artists. But at a certain point, it gets exhausting. And I don't want to have to teach every person that I interact with how to be a better client and how to respect artists. Like I run out of steam at a certain point.
Well, that's not technically part of the brief, is it? When you take on client work.
Yeah. Need you to be a designer and also X, Y, and Z.
Also my therapist.
Yeah.
No, that's streamers.
They have new bartenders.
Like people will hit us with the wildest shit, and I'll just sit there and I'll go, okay, I do preach mental health. I am in a good place to explain things, but I A, can't diagnose you. B, take my advice with a grain of salt. Yeah. Because I'm only speaking from personal experience. Like, please go get actual help.
Please.
What's the wildest thing? I suppose that's not like it's privacy to divulge, but is it like deeply personal or like?
I've seen some deeply personal stuff like get thrown out there out of left field, and it's like, whoa, maybe not my business. Like, because people like. Part of the streaming gig is you want to be this welcoming persona, and it's like, but people also need to realize that you're not necessarily their friend. You're watching an interactive TV show. Like, I don't know you. Yeah. And stuff like that.
Purse.
Like, you have to set boundaries.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the development of the parasocial relationship is challenging, especially in something I feel like in the Twitch space where you are getting direct interaction back from the people that you're watching. The TV is talking back to you, like
in real time.
Yeah. Yep. No, I've honestly, even in the real world, like in some of my teaching situations, I will have some students say stuff to me, and I'm just like, I can be a open and listening ear. I can speak to you on my own personal experiences, but I was like, there's some stuff that I am just flat out not qualified to give you advice on. Like, there are deeper needs here that I cannot help, and it's scary because it's the like, you clearly trust me and you clearly feel safe with me, but I have a limit to the amount of help I feel like I can offer, and it's heartbreaking. But to a point that you made, Hebe, with the like,
well, there's also people that take advantage of it.
Yeah, I was like, and there are times where I'm not in a space to give any more of myself.
Yeah. And it's like, I always tell people, and this advice applies more to people who stream casually or like are mid-sized streamers rather than like the people where it's their full-time job. If you don't feel like you can be on, don't go live. Because it's just like performing in drag. The audience can tell. If you are not in it, the audience knows.
Well, I want to shout out Vic. I saw you do this once where you didn't want to be on camera, or you didn't want to be even on voice, and you were responding to people in chat, but it was a banner that popped up, right? Either you had it on your screen when you showed up to the stream, or it was something mentioned in the tags where it was just like, hey, like, I want to do art. You're welcome to come and do art with me and listen to the music, but I'm not interacting. And I was like, that's perfect. Like, it was such a nice setting the expectations for there. And like, that was, but I agree completely. Like,
honestly, I've found like that's become my permanent way now. That's I tend not to be on camera or voice anymore, and I just do like chill art only streams because I've, from experience, have found that was what suited me. So I stuck with it.
Well, it's like, I love streaming out of drag, but I will say my numbers in drag and out of drag are wildly different.
Interesting.
And so it's like, I do want to kind of like get into like maybe like PNG tubing and just have like a little drag version of me like propped up in the corner. But at the same time, I'm also just like, no, this is also part of my brand. This is part of me.
Right.
Like, if you don't like it, kick rocks, but I want the numbers. It's such a like slippery slope.
Yeah. Well, and shout out to guests from the last two episodes, who, and actually most recent episode, Wiffle Possum, joined Doodle Crew last episode with their PNG tuber. So, and I know that they make them. So
yep.
I really want to make one of those.
It's like, I don't want to go into full blown VTubing, but
no,
PNG tubing for like when you need it.
Yeah. No, I think you're allowed to have, again, setting the expectation of, you know, sometimes I don't always want to be, you know, for you in full glam, but I still want to chat and interact. And
well, it's like, and then sometimes it's like, I'm tired after work. Like, and I feel like the feel of being on screen while not actually being on screen would take some of that ease off of how tired I feel.
I am tired all the time.
Yeah, it's called being in your 30s, babe.
Hey, you know what, though? I'm only there for a few more years, and then everything will get better. So
yeah.
No, well.
And then you die.
And then I die. That one is just for you, Geoff.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah. It's fun. It's so fun.
We have fun here.
I just love how we'll slingshot from like the most ridiculous topic to getting a little too deep, and then it's like poop joke.
Reel it back in. Reel it back in.
Yep. Yeah. Well, at least for me, if I can't laugh about some of this stuff, then
that's how I am.
Genuinely not be okay.
Yeah. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
It's like I literally have the problem, and part of it's the ADHD, but part of it is just my personality, where it's like I can't take anything seriously, anything, and it does get me in trouble sometimes. It's like literally there'll be the worst disaster at work, and if I am in like work mode, I will just look at it and be like, okay, this is happening. And as everybody's freaking out and running around, I'm like, why are you freaking out? And they're like, da, da, da. I'm like, yeah, that's probably the response I should have, but I think this is really funny.
Nope. I mean, before I left the job, like the place I was at, we would get insanely busy, leading up to Christmas and everything. And I was getting, terrible phone calls from the sales reps about where their stuff was and all of this. And I had a very refreshing conversation with one of the reps at one point where it was like, this is not a hospital. Nobody is dying. If I don't get this sweatshirt by Christmas, it'll be okay. And like, it was a good like perspective reset, because you can get so like tunnel visioned into this stressful situation. And like myself and my coworkers, we were killing ourselves to do this stuff. And I was like, it's not life.
And it's not necessary.
It's not. We are not first responders. There is no reason for this. Yeah. But
and I keep bringing it back to the streaming thing because that's how I relate. But it's like I tell people, I'm just like, listen, until this pays my like all of my bills, I'm gonna take days off.
Yeah,
they might be more often than you would like.
Yeah.
There is a way that people can help get you to the place where you can do it full time.
But then they'll complain about watching ads. And I'm like, well, if you subscribe to my channel, you wouldn't get ads. Or you can pay for Twitch Turbo, which supports everybody. Like,
which then in my brain, because it's broken, immediately I go to Turbo-tastic. Which I have enjoying. So shouting out KCD Studios in chat. We've been having a thing recently because we've been recording a lot together. And I've been dropping some of my just random pulls from movies and animated shows and everything. And she's just like, that's one of mine. And I was like, oh, yay. I never get anyone who knows these quotes that I'm saying. So that's so exciting. But yeah, Turbo-tastic. No, I remember, and this is years ago. I saw an artist post a statement on Instagram that was talking about how being a content creator under that specific umbrella had burnt them out so much that they were struggling with their actual illustrative artwork. And they're like, hey, I have to change how I approach this and how I do this, because the thing that I actually love doing and love making, I'm struggling with. And it broke my heart, because here is an incredibly talented artist who makes this beautiful stuff and is feeling the pressure of all of these other things in order to qualify, quote unquote, to be a content creator. And it was sad. I give them a lot of credit. And I think, I am guilty of not doing this, but I think being able to just be transparent and make a statement like that. And if that's the reason that someone make or breaks and doesn't follow me anymore, then okay. But like, I feel like just being upfront about that is huge. And I think if we can have more artists who say stuff like that and prioritize themselves in that way, I think it's healthier for all of us going forward. But it's tough.
That's what I tell people. I'm like, listen, you want more of me? Let me relax.
Yeah. Yeah. Geoff, I love what's happening here. I love it so much. I just looked up. I was like, oh my gosh. Phenomenal. Oh.
That's black.
So I guess because, like I mentioned earlier, the students that I usually work with are middle school aged. Are you seeing at the college level, are you seeing for art that same pressure already hitting the kids of being content creators or being that type of very socially present artist? Or do you think, are they still more blissfully unaware? I don't know how to phrase that exactly.
Has the world beaten them down yet?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is there still the spark of hope in their eyes, or is that all gone?
Do they still have joy?
And how do we stamp that out?
Right, yeah. How can we stop that? No, they're so hyper focused on college right now. Like, I don't think any of them are, how can I monetize this yet? Like, I
Okay.
don't think that's going to happen until they get out there and they need to. Like, even the graduates, even the ones that are graduating, I'm not hearing anything of, what sites do I need to be on? What do I need to be doing here? It's more like they're looking for that quote unquote real job. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, they're, because our industry is so up in the air right now. Like most are, but I mean, ours really, especially right now, like animation in particular, is just so.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yep.
I'm trying to encourage them and be like, listen, this happened to me too. It was a little different, like, but when I was graduating, 2D animation was quote unquote dying.
Yep.
But as you can see, it's still around, and it had a resurgence, and especially in the television realm, like, no, not many feature films are being made that are traditionally animated, but you are getting these amazing shows, and I like to instill in them, like, if you don't get into a studio, do you know how easy it could be for you to put stuff online still and maybe just be independent and not have to turn over your works to somebody else who may just, I don't know, like Hebe had said earlier, turn them in for tax write-offs and they disappear.
The Disney porn vault?
Right. What's that?
Disney porn vault?
So, like, I don't know. It's hard to tell them, like, especially since I'm the 2D guy. We have a motion graphics guy and we have a 3D guy, and those guys are like, you need to go into this because they're kind of talking against all our 2D kids, and I'm just like, and I have a few that come to me and they're like, we don't feel as supported, and I'm like, I'm here. Like, I may not be your teacher right now, but you can still lean on me and still come to me, and you have my email address. I am available all the time. I'm not getting emails from you, so how am I supposed to know?
Right.
So, like, I'm just like, you want encouragement in that realm, come to me. You want encouragement in the 3D realm, you go to that guy. You want encouragement in motion graphics, stuff like that, go to that guy. Like you don't have to listen to the people saying no. Yes, I go, yeah, it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to get a job in 2D, but do I think you can do it? Yeah, because this is the many different ways you could get into being an animator. You may not be an animator right away. You may be a storyboard artist. You may be a designer. You may be, any one of these numbers of things. You may just be a colorist. You may be doing tie downs, cleanup. You might be an animator. You might get into rigging. You might do all this other stuff. Like, there's so many different ways that you can get in. But I think, and I truly do think right now, we are seeing a resurgence. It's just not in your traditional way. It's on YouTube. It's on stuff like that. Like, there are small independent studios that are knocking it out of the park right now. You just need to know where to find them.
Yeah.
And I imagine there's a world of difference in terms as well of like what constitutes success in any of those areas. So like, it's not, you don't just have to work for Disney or DreamWorks or whatever. There is way more out there, even if you don't want to go the fully independent on your own route, that you can still be working and doing exactly what you set out to do.
Yeah. Yeah, even here, like here in Pittsburgh, like there are lots of houses that, like, studios and stuff that could use an animator or a graphic designer or whatever. Like, do that, make money, do that, and then on the side, do what other things you want to do. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. Like, I didn't set out to be a teacher or an instructor. I love it, and I think I found what I was meant to do. But like, I also love drawing. I love animation. I still do that, just not as often.
Well, it's just goes hand in hand with the fact that success is personal at the
It's
end of the
relevant,
day.
yeah.
It's like whether it's monetary success, whether it's all inside you, what you need to do in order to feel successful. It's like I've hit the point now where it's like I am a successful drag queen. Like I'm on makeup PR lists. People watch me on Twitch occasionally. Like I have had game companies send me video games, and just because I'm not booked in person all the time doesn't mean I'm not successful. I'm doing shit that half the drag queens in the city, even though they may not want to do it, have never done. And to me, that's a form of success.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yep.
There's a great comic writer I knew from back in England. I want to say his name is Matt Garvey, and he started a YouTube series about making comics and things. And I think he put it really well when he talked about the difference between a plan and a goal, or a goal and a dream. And this sort of, you could absolutely have the dream, and you should always feel motivated to strive towards the ultimate goal and dream and things, but to make a more realistic plan and to not set yourself targets that are outside of your own control. So you can absolutely find work. If you want to get your dream job, you don't have to put your whole sense of did I succeed on whether or not you hit your absolute top dream.
Yeah.
And it's an easy trap to fall into, I think.
Mm-hmm. No, it's something I am lucky enough that I get asked to speak at like career days and stuff like that here locally. And a lot of them are for early high schoolers and stuff. So my point in going to those, a lot of it is to be very transparent with them. Like I will tell you exactly what I did in high school, what I went to college for, what life has been for me afterwards. But the important thing is I was like, even though it's not exactly the art I thought I was going to do, I have successfully been working as an artist my entire professional career. Like that's valuable. And my big thing too is everything I learned at the newspaper job helped me with this, that, and the other thing. Everything I learned at the garment decorator helped me with all of this. And then when I started teaching, that helped me, even reflecting back, because of the principles I was teaching forced me to look at my own artwork and kind of adapt that. Like all of these things are so valuable. And while there are times where I will get down on myself for not having put as much energy into my comics at the time, but I was like, but also, I had to pay my bills and I had to live. And I was lucky enough that I was able to do a lot of this stuff. And I can now be pickier and I can now make really calculated decisions about what I want to and don't want to do. And that's a really nice place to be in. Yep. And I can say no to jobs that are going to, abuse or exploit me. And I can make healthier decisions on that. And that's its own value. And I'm happy for things that I've created and things that I've built. So, but it's one of those where, exactly like you said, like, I think and I don't know if it's changing now, but I felt like for us, when we were coming up through school, there was always because it had been so much the case, like you get one job and you stay at one job for 30 years. And so it was like, you had to have the dream job and like the job. And I was like, that's never been the case for me. I have always had either multiple jobs or I have moved from one job to another after like 7 years or less. And that's okay. Like I don't think the world of today is really set up for us to have that kind of longevity in jobs. So being able to be flexible and adaptable, I feel like makes you have.
It's an important skill.
Yeah. And being able to do that and that pivot kind of thing and not fully tie your identity to that one job or one success.
Yeah.
Well, as you were talking about it, Geoff, I was just thinking of stuff like even like Vox Machina and Has Been Hotels, which have gotten big stuff like that, but like adaptations of like Nimona and stuff where all of this, like, I feel like those were like pipe dreams for us when we would see cool webtoons or YouTube shorts and stuff. They're like, could you imagine how cool this would be if this actually got like a whole show and stuff like that? Like,
and then it did.
Yeah, like the fact that that's not that uncommon now. I was like, that's actually really, really cool. And an encouraging way that the industry that I love so much has pivoted and kind of feel like taken back a little bit of the power.
Mhm. And I think that's where a lot of our we're getting a lot more new voices. We're getting a lot more new stories coming out that way because, you look at films, they're rehashed like to death. A lot of stuff is just, especially with Disney right now, like, oh, let's remake all of our classic animated movies into live
Nobody
action.
asked for this.
Right.
It's just
Exactly.
licensing. It's like, how do we re-copyright things?
yeah,
We
how do
can't
we
extend
continue-
official
yeah.
copyright anymore.
Yep. How do we continue to keep a hold on to this copyright? But it's just, the scary thing still is if you sign on with the wrong place, and I've seen it happen. We've seen it happen too much the past couple of years with Infinity Train doesn't exist anymore. Like it's almost like it never existed. Final Space? It's almost as if it never existed. Luckily, Olin gets to finish his story in a graphic novel, but he can only print it once and then can't do it anymore. So like if you don't get in on that, then you don't get to see the finished story. Like it's so frustrating to see these things happen to these creators.
The Infinity Train one just upset me so much. Obviously, I can't even find words for it now, but just that concept of, and it even goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the collecting physical media, where I was just like, those are the ones where I'm like, I want to support the creators that I like with those.
And they're not allowed.
Yeah, on those physical things. And I was like, because who knows when you just take it away and you can't even get it anymore. And oh my gosh, like just terrifying to have that and do the thing and have all of it and then just gone forever.
I have various projects at any given moment that I'm trying to develop, and I've considered pitching several of them as a graphic novel. I'm also in the process now of working on an animated web series project, and part of it is like have to check myself. Like I'm just telling myself that it's a decision to work as an indie, create our own thing, because I couldn't even get near succeeding by actually pitching it to people. But I think that there's a real value in it because I can take my time in it. I can balance it with my real life and not murder myself over it or attach all my self-worth to it if it fails because I've had to burn myself out to make it. And I can have complete creative control. I can choose who to invite on board that project or who not to. I don't get stuck working with people who change it or who make it a horrible process where you lose your love for it even. And I keep coming back to that same challenge, I guess, of the value of owning your own thing versus, it's nice to have it go big and famous whenever, but the fact, as you say, that even making the thing yourself now can still lead to that ultimate goal is incredible. That's an option. It's very motivating.
And just even thinking back to, I remember, I'll say even in college, some of the professors talking about, if you ended up going to work for Disney, like not developing your own ideas and stuff, because as long as you were employed by them, they owned any of your creativity stuff. And I was like it. I feel like I was also, I've said it many times, but I was so young. I was so baby in college. And I was like, I understand this kind of like, I understand the concept. This whole thing makes sense to me, but I truly do not feel that I understood like the ramifications and the depth of that until I actually started creating a larger body of work for myself. And the idea of like, even all of these unfinished projects that sit lonely in my office waiting to be picked up again, but just the like, no, you don't get these anymore. They belong to someone else now. Like that. Oh my gosh.
Stuff you create in your free time. It doesn't have to be like during office hours, I guess. Like there's certain, you have to be really careful the contracts you sign.
And that's part of what I brought up earlier, the Disney Porn Vault. Like, disgruntled artists will draw porn of the Disney characters in the official style because Disney owns it, so it goes in the Disney porn vault. It is a real thing.
Sort of spoils the magic a bit, really, doesn't it? When you see how far people get exploited in that way.
Well, it's the same thing with Drag Race. Queens go on Drag Race expecting their careers to blow up, their booking fee to go, to be beloved, and then all it takes is them to put an out-of-context clip in the middle of something and play some rotted music, and that queen's career is basically destroyed. Because everybody on the internet is about to start sending them death threats and being racist or wild shit. And these queens are being exploited, essentially.
It sucks.
And it doesn't happen to every queen, but it can happen.
The scary thing is that it can happen, and it can happen so fast.
And it has happened multiple times.
Yeah. I cannot remember if it was a TikTok video series that I was watching or one that linked me to something else. I don't know. So I cannot cite my sources specifically, but it was along the lines of discussing the internet justice and how, armchair sleuths can be such an incredible positive force along some lines, but the becoming judge and jury immediately and while I do think this person, and I cannot remember their name, so I'm sorry about that, I do think they absolutely misstepped and they did something very stupid. But there was a woman who tweeted something very foolish as she was traveling to Africa and posted it on Twitter. And it was stupid. It was heinous. It was gross. It was one of those where I'm like, you shouldn't say this shit to your friends. You should especially not say it to the internet. But just in that time frame of her being in airplane mode, she lands and her job has fired her. Her public address has been out there, and now she is getting death threats and stuff. And I was like, it happened so fast, and there's no due process in that.
Nope.
And so I was like, no, we need to have ways that people can learn to be better. But
exactly, it's like the internet doesn't allow for personal growth anymore.
Exactly.
If you end up in the zeitgeist, God help you.
Yeah. So it's just and the same thing with reality, like you were saying with reality TV, like heaven forbid something that you said in that case, gets taken out of context or specifically amped up to be out of context, and you lose control of your narrative, and
you're just at the mercy of the editors.
Yep. And it's like people get so invested. It's like, y'all, this is a produced television show for your entertainment. It is not that serious.
Yep.
These are all real people whose livelihoods you were playing with.
Well, an internet person who I genuinely enjoyed, Elise Myers, who would just get on and talk about her life. Wasn't commentating on the Israel-Palestine conflict.
That's a big thing too.
And got so much pushback from it. And, my heartbreak over, at no point had she ever spoken publicly about politics or current events or anything. It was usually telling little stories from her life, and this expectation of commentating on it, I can't imagine. And she ended up the hate got so much she just closed down everything. And I was like, it's heartbreaking.
That happens to a degree to Twitch streamers too.
Oh yeah.
It's like I do speak out. I would say hey, the genocide in Gaza, not okay. But it's I'm not an expert. If I say something incorrect, I will have my head on a pike. Yeah. So I'm not going to say something incorrect. I'm going to stand by my statements, and I will provide articles or whatever need be. But I'm not the front line, nor should I be.
No. And just like we said earlier, I want the space to learn and grow and change and adapt and get new information and be able to understand new things as new things are presented to me. But
there has to be space for you not to know something.
Yes.
And that's not an excuse to lean hard into ignorance, obviously.
Exactly.
But there has to be a middle ground where if someone
there has to be an expectation that I just don't know.
Yeah, you have to be able to be like, do you know what? I didn't know that. I'm going to go ahead and educate myself. Thank you for pointing it out, and I apologize if I offended anybody. And for that not to destroy your entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know that there's nuance even to that, but nuance is kind of the point, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, KCD, I was gonna say, stepped out for a second and we got real heavy. It's been a roller coaster on this one. I feel like I said, let's draw ourselves and make new promo things, and we said let's also self-reflect deeply.
Someone make a poop joke
Yeah.
real fast.
Well, hey, speaking of checking in,
Speaking of cancels and poop jokes, Trisha Paytas, I guess, on her podcast recently commented on the fact that Shane Dawson on his podcast was accusing his husband of leaving little poopies around the house.
Ew.
What does that mean?
Ew.
They don't specify what it means. So I'm like, are you leaving skid marks around the house? Are you shitting on the floor? Like,
do you create little cute pellets like a wombat? Like,
yeah, like what does that phrase mean? Leaving little poopies around the house?
No, I don't like any of that.
Anyway, that's your mix of cancel culture and poop joke.
Good. I'm kind of impressed.
Nailed
Okay,
that.
what I was going to ask you is, how are you? How is your face? How are you feeling?
I haven't had any complaints.
Because we're getting close to the 2-hour mark, but I want you to be able to finish your look.
All I have to do is throw on blush and a lip.
Okay, cool. I mean, Geoff only completed 2 full finished artworks, so really a slow day for him, but...
I know, right? I'm sorry, guys. I'm usually faster than this.
I did a whole bunch of ridiculous sketches, but we got there. Oh, I forget. Like everything, I forget how it came up, but I was reminiscing about one of the Twin Tiers Comic-Cons that we did together, Geoff, where I had the brilliant idea of like, you know what? This is the time. This is the time I'm going to challenge Geoff to see if I can draw faster than him. Spoilers, I can't. But I was like, no, this is the one. I'm on some shit this weekend. Let's go. And it was very fun.
Yeah, this past one that we did a lot of, like the 4 of us that were drawing. We were all pretty fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there was a couple of years, like obviously, I think it's pre-pandemic because I haven't done one since then. But I think it was one of the ones at the arena, maybe, and we had that panel that was like a suggest and draw thing,
Yeah.
and we were just like, let's go, and it was just like, oh, I'm too fast.
Yep.
And I don't, sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing that I draw too fast. Like and it's one of those, I think it's just ingrained in me that I don't have that much time. So I need to get stuff done quickly, but I also need to slow down and enjoy myself a little bit more while I draw, because I feel like it's like, I gotta get it done. And it's like, oh, I forgot I like this. I should probably slow down and take more time with it because I like doing this.
Yeah.
I've been working, like my focus for the past several years has just been getting faster and faster and faster and faster. Like that's been what I've been trying to work on, to the point where I'm like, and sometimes, I think you do, don't you? Forget like, it's supposed to be fun as well. Take my time and enjoy something sometimes.
Yeah, so what I've done is I will force myself to take days, if not weeks, on a piece, but I'll work on it little bits at a time. So if I only have a certain amount of time, then I'll get something done in that time, but I force myself to walk away and come back. And I think those pieces are the ones that I do enjoy more or like more when they're done, just because I've taken all that time to come back fresh to it, and take that time to like really get into something. And those pieces, usually it's a thing that's like, okay, I'm going to do something this month, where it's like almost a prompty type thing, where it's a few years back, some friends of mine suggested we do Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles during June. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And I set it up as basically 2 pieces. One was good guys, one was bad guys. And every day I would draw 1 piece of it. So like for 15 days, it was just, I put together the good guys line work. And then for the next 15 days, it was, I put together all the bad guys line work. So it was like, I was like, okay, I'm drawing this guy today. And that's all I'm doing today. And I have this much time to do it. I'm going to use up all that time to draw this one guy. And I think that's something that helped me out, get a little bit more focus and more perspective on work like that.
That's
I
awesome.
need to do more of that. I've been doing some new character sheets for my comic, and it's similar where I've kind of said, today I'm focusing on this character, and that's been nice, but I could definitely do more of that, I think.
I notice it especially when I'm ideating a project or ideating a logo. You know, it can be really, really hard to like drop in day one and be like, okay, I've got all these ideas, and then get one that I'm immediately attached to. And I benefit so much from then just taking a day and kind of coming back and be like, okay, how could this be better? And not getting so attached. And I feel like I have spent enough time working in it that a lot of the time early ideas of mine are still very valid, and sometimes are ones I end up going with, but it just gives me that chance to kind of sit with it for a second and be like, did you think through all the things? And then when I move forward, I don't have that like what if, like, oh, but what if I'd spent a little bit more time thinking it through? Like I did get to a point where I was like, okay, no, I'm good. We did our due diligence. We can move on. All right. Well, I'll say, while Hebe is finishing up, we can start doing show and tell and our outros. And because it's fun, I'm going to start with you, Geoff. Yeah.
So the first one's more in my traditional style that I have been doing for God knows how long now. But yeah, so this is probably the one that I'll use the most because it's what I generally fluctuate to stylistically. And then my second one that I did just for fun is this guy here, and it's more chibi-esque with a giant head. And
it is. I like it because it's very different from the normal style I see from you. So it's fun.
I like it a lot. That's awesome.
Yes, I agree with Casey. Such fun shapes. I know she chaprays, but yes, shapes. No, Geoff's shape language has been fucking killer the entire time I've known him. So it's rad as heck. But yeah, I know you said you've got some upcoming stuff. What is the best way for people to kind of follow you, hang out, see what your stuff is that you're working on, and then be on board when you drop new stuff?
Yeah, so I think I make most announcements on Facebook, so feel free to friend me on that. I'm Jeffrey Munn, located in Pittsburgh, so there's very few of us out there. But yeah, if you can find me on there, I usually do a lot of my announcements there. I also have a Pocket Science Studios page on Facebook that I mirror most stuff to. The biggest thing happening right now is I'm getting ready. I'm still not quite there, so the few people who have pre-ordered, I apologize for taking a little bit longer. Pre-orders for Volume 3 of #Parenting are coming out. Like we're going to be doing that one soon, and very soon after that, Volume 4 will also be published because I have enough material. I just have to put it together. I'm still shaping the 10-page story that I put in each one of them. The third one being about my third child. Each one of them is kind of like the first one was about my oldest. The second one was about my second son, and my third one will be about. I have 3 boys. They're all very much boys. So this one will be about him, and each one of them is dedicated to each child. And then the fourth one will be coming out shortly after that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do special for that one. I'm going to try something a little different, I think, as opposed to the traditional 10-page little story about them. I'm going to figure something else out, but I still have time. That one will be probably closer to holidays, I think. And the other thing that's exciting that I'm going to be doing over the summer is I am putting together a tarot card deck. So I will be kickstarting that sometime in the summertime, and that will also be announced on my Facebook page. So also on Instagram. So if you do find me on that, I will announce it there as well. But I'm working with a friend from Elmira, and she is telling me, she's big into that stuff. So I wanted to put together a tarot decks. So it's going to be a long process because they're like 78 cards long.
There's so many of
them. So that's going to come out. Each deck will probably sell for between $50 and $75. I'm told that's about standard for a tarot deck. The more we make on Kickstarter, the more bonus stuff we can put on, like foil stamping and stuff like that, which I'd love to do for the backings of these things. But I'm very excited about it. They're very, very kind of whimsical skeletons instead of like the traditional, like,
that's awesome.
Stuff like that. So those are the big things that I'm working on this summer. I am also trying to get back into my my online graphic novel called Giant Bastard. I've been doing more design work and writing for that. I know I have at least one person who's excited about that.
Hey, that's sometimes all it takes. You just need one.
And I do post hashtag parenting comics every once in a blue moon when I can get time to doing that. So I do have a bunch of stuff lined up to get ready to go. And I have one more big announcement happening towards the end of the year, but I'm still gathering stuff together for that. But those are the big things that are happening now. Everything will be announced on either Instagram or Facebook. And if I get better at using Blue Sky and Threads, then we'll be there too.
But yeah, also shameless self-promotion is if you follow at Doodlecrew Draw. We have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, and I try to shout out and share awesome projects that Doodle Crew participants have going. So that is always a place I try to collect all of the cool stuff and share. So if you're following that, I try to shout out as much as I can all this amazing stuff that people do. So that is so exciting. Oh, Geoff, I'm so excited.
I'm very excited as well.
Yay! All right. Coming to you, Vic.
Oh, I know you caught me quickly trying to finish something up. Okay, so here's what I've ended up with.
So cute.
So we have Dr. Vic, Farmer Vic, Fancy Vic, otherwise possibly like Red Carpet Vic, and Franken Vic. And these were the looks I came up with today.
I love it. Also, I've seen Fancy Vic. That is very true to life. Yeah, you do Fancy.
Oh, that's
very
true.
well.
Yeah, you've seen almost exactly this outfit in real life.
There's even a picture of the two of us.
There is somewhere evidence that we are not secretly the same person because we are in the same place twice.
Oh, that's so awesome. Oh, I love it. So yeah, as far as following and supporting you, what's the best way for people to do that?
As I said at the start, is at idstar on most things. And I have a webcomic, which I print volumes of each chapter as I go, called Of Destiny and Dragoons, which is a fantasy adventure comic based on a D&D game. So if that's your bag, then check that out at dragoons.com. I also recently released a mini comic called Moonbeams. You can read for free on Webtoon, or you can download from my store as like a pay what you want to get the PDF. I'm going to get that one printed too for anybody who really just loves paper things and wants a copy of that. That'll be up in the store too. I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm trying to put together that I'm like not at the point yet of announcing because it's like way out there, and I'm trying not to say it too soon and then oh no, I actually have to do it. But a lot of animation sort of stuff that I'm trying to get back into. So really just, it's been a very quiet creative year for me. So I'm trying to get back into that. But follow most of that at idstar. I've got a Discord server for my comic if anybody ever wants to kind of hang out in there. I do a lot of Twitch streaming recently. I've been getting really back into that. And it's very, very chill. It's just, I share my screen and I have music going. Yeah,
it's really nice.
That's about it.
If I can't hang out in the Twitch stream, I will pop over to your YouTube and I will pull up your lo-fi mixes with your lovely art and just hang out and listen to those while the pretty art is there. So also highly, highly recommend that.
Thanks so much.
Ah, all right. I feel like the look has been completed.
Well, as completed as possible. So this is actually a sort of like a remake of the image I had sent you for the promo that didn't happen.
Nope. There was a promo. It had no pictures. Yes, I am also having a struggle bus year for art, so I'm working on it.
But yeah, it's like my mug has changed a lot. in the past like year or so. I actually look good most of the time now.
You looked good before.
No, I didn't. I'm willing to on my original dog's grave. No, I did not. I thought I did, but I did not. And that's okay, because that's how you grow with art. Hello, everybody. My name is Hebe Buffay. I'm an all-you-can-eat course of horror, RPGs, and drag here on Twitch. You can catch me on my own Twitch channel, Hebe Buffay, every Monday. Before it was Monday and Thursday, now it's probably going to be Monday and Friday, with an occasional Wednesday stream thrown in the middle. You can catch me on all of my social media. I have a flyaway wig hair. And the username is Hebe Buffay across the board. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Twitter. And yes, I will use the name Twitter and not X, because Elon Musk did names his daughter. So I will continue to do that. And I'm also on Blue Sky and Threads. So I'm everywhere. Come check me out.
Yay! No, I especially love the little clips I get on TikTok, because I am a big weenie and don't watch your horror streams, but I get the funny little like snippets, and often you being scared and screaming, which is delightful in that moment, because I didn't actually have to see the scary thing. So highly recommend. So much fun. No, I love it. I love it. I'm so happy you're back. It's so fun. Yeah. All right. Me. There we go. There's there's the last one that I did, which I think it's me and the cat smushed together. But yeah, we got some fun. Like I said, I am a tremendously huge fan of Drawfee. I love all of their stuff, and they have little cartoon versions of them, which is basically what I ended up with. But it was nice. So this one felt appropriate. But also, yeah, just trying out some different styles and some different ways. I did a more realistic one, which I like a lot, but yeah, just trying to get the feel for that, because I
like it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is very accurate. I do
love
lay
that.
on the ground.
The little feet are incredible.
Yep. Well, I had a video recently for a dance we're putting together, and I was like, I'm kind of shaped like a minion more than I want to be. So I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I just lean in. Maybe I lean into that. But no, this was fun. I like getting to play around. I'm happy with my main illustrative kind of cartoon style, but I haven't fully found a cartoon version of me, a simplified one that I really love. So it was fun to get to kind of experiment and play around with those. Yeah, it is Gudetama Swan, very much. Yes, I am just an egg yolk most days. But if you want to see more of my stuff, you can follow me all across the internet at a swan named Emily. I have been so lucky recently to be a guest on a whole bunch of podcasts. I've been playing a lot of virtual D&D. So I have been on the Dungeons & Drake on Beams Animorphs podcast. We are wrapping up a specialty Hork-Bajir Chronicles, where I got to be a guest on that. There's also another one that's going to be coming up and hopefully dropping in a couple of months, where maybe I was playing some Pokemon. I have my somewhat every other week, at least once a month, chat show that I do with my buddies called In Addition, which you can listen to that. I also post little clips of that over on my Instagram. If you want to actually buy some of my rad stickers, I think they're rad. I'm very happy with them. You can find them over on Etsy. And if you would like to have pay in the stickers that I'm making, you can do that at Patreon. There is a tier where you can actually get custom stickers made by me. So yeah, and then just always a tremendous shout out to follow Doodlecrew, because I love getting to post my friends' artwork, because I have really cool and rad friends, and it's very, very exciting. So I'm so happy this is back. I'm so happy that all of you were very, very stern with me and said, get back and make this happen, because I'm having so much fun. So thank you for everyone, and thank you all for hanging out with us. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.